safe plate. And I'm gonna spray this with some cooking spray, sugar, flour, eggs, butter, and almond extract. So, just listening to a little Greatest Showman. You know, that Wolverine singing Broadway tunes, I mean, he's the best. He's the best. My favorite line is, "A man knows who is there for him when the glitter fades and the walls won't hold." I mean, so true. So, you know how like some things, some foods remind you of your childhood? It might be something like, you know, your mom or your dad made, or your grandmother or something like that. So my probably strongest sort of food childhood memory is my Aunt Mary Agnes's cinnamon cake. I made the mistake of learning how to make it a few years back because I really enjoy it, so I make it a lot. So we're just gonna do this one really quick, and it's just a really if you like, you know, butter and cinnamon and sugar, this cake is for you. So it's just a nice kind of, it could be, you know, a breakfast type thing, or, you know, something like that. So our ingredients here that you'll need are flour, sugar, vanilla, about 17 sticks of butter. No, really only two. Cinnamon, salt, baking powder, 4 eggs, and 1 cup of milk. So you're going to start out by melting. This is too hot. You're going to start out by melting 1 stick of butter with 1 cup of milk in the microwave. You don't want it to like boil, but you just want it to get warm. So let's do that. While that's happening, we're going to start beating our eggs. Push some of this out of the way. So basically, in this case, we're going to want these eggs and sugar to get really nice and fluffy and pale yellow. I'll show you what that looks like. So you mix it for quite some time. So I'm going to put 4 eggs, trash bowl. Gotta listen to mom, you know what I'm saying? Can you hear that? Whoa. If you couldn't, it was a big roll of thunder. Love thunderstorms. Except for when I have to leave the house, which I do in about 45 minutes. So 4 eggs. And we're going to get that going. Okay, so the melting of the butter and the milk took about 1.5 minutes in the microwave. And then I've been beating these eggs. Oh, I forgot to put on my apron. Beating these eggs for about 1 minute. So now I'm going to add the sugar to this, which is 1 cup. Hold on, is that right? Give me a sec. Yeah, 1 cup of sugar. This recipe isn't written very well, and I wrote it. So 1 cup of sugar into this, and then this is the part where we're really going to let this go for just a few minutes on pretty high speed. And I'll show you what this looks like when it gets really mixed well, because it'll be nice and light in color and fluffy. I'll show you in just a sec. Okay, so I've been mixing this for about, I don't know, like 2 to 3 minutes. I'm going to show you what this looks like, but then it's going to drip everywhere. Okay, let's do that. So can you see how sort of light and colored this got? It's really kind of fluffy. I don't know if that was helpful or not, but okay, we're going to go back over here to our melted butter and milk mixture, and we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. In this case, I'm going to use my real vanilla instead of the fake stuff because, you know, that's really the flavor of the cake is vanilla. So I'm going to just add a little bit extra of the vanilla. Then I'll show you that my sweet little niece made for me at the Pottery Place, Madison C. She's 16 now, and she's still so cute. So we put in this vanilla. Now we're going to measure out our flour, which is, remember, if you recall, we talked about how to measure flour properly. I've been doing that wrong my entire life, which is to not dig it in, but scoop it and pour it in like that. Take the back side of a butter knife, kind of do this sort of situation, and then level it off. We need 2 cups of flour. It's not raining. I haven't heard any more thunder. Okay, and now we're going to add to this 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I said earlier we needed salt. I'm not going to add that because I used salted butter. So I'm not going to add any additional salt. So let's do 2 teaspoons of baking powder leveled off. We're just going to give this a quick mix up. Okay, so now what we're going to do is alternate adding the flour and the buttermilk mixture to this. This again, science, not sure why. They're going to tell you to start with flour. So I'm just going to scoop in a little bit of flour. I'm going to add about half of this mixture. I'm going to scoop in another third of the flour approximately. I'm going to pour in the rest of this. They tell you to start and end with flour when you do this alternating thing. I don't know why. So, got that up. That will be good. Oh, did you see that light flicker situation? And then the rest of the flour. There. That's all the ingredients for the cake itself. Now, normally, I make this cake. Let me show you. Hold on, let me just scrape down the sides real quick. This is a very thin batter. I normally make this cake. Hope I'm not. It's okay, puppy. It's okay. Can you hear it? I normally make this cake in this size pan. It's called a sheet pan, or I don't know, it's got a lot of names. This is a, I want to say it's like a, I don't know, it's this size. But this time I'm going to try and use this size. It's a slightly smaller size. It's for, I just want my cake this time, I want to try it and see if I can get it to be just a little bit thicker. So I'm going to spray my pan with Vaseline or any kind of, you know, spray. Every time I use this stuff, I start singing Jolene. You know that. Okay, and then we're going to pour this in to here. Then it's the fun part. So scoop that in here. You could see how thin this was. I'm having some concerns I didn't mix it long enough, but we'll see. Okay, next, and the best part is we're gonna, that was just a random smell. We are gonna melt 1 stick of butter, 1 entire whole stick of butter. So yes, this thing has 2 sticks of butter in its entirety. We're gonna melt this in the microwave. Okay, so we melted the butter in the microwave. Now we're gonna take a separate bowl and we're gonna put in approximately, this is ridiculous, I'm aware of that, approximately like a cup of sugar, maybe a little bit less, or maybe a lot less. Actually, I'll just do it and then I might have leftover. So about a cup of sugar, and then, I don't know, I don't get at this part, I would say, I mean, I like it to be really cinnamony, so I'm gonna say 2 tablespoons. That's probably way too much for a normal human. So we're gonna mix our cinnamon sugar mixture together. I know that looks pretty good. So then what we're gonna do is take our melted butter and we're gonna drizzle it over the cake batter, sort of as gently as we can, so that it tries to kind of remain on the top and not like get pushed down to the bottom, if that makes sense. So I just use a spoon and I just kind of try and hold my spoon sort of close to the batter. I mean, this is ridiculous, you guys. I like to really get into the corners. So we've, as I've said, had this cake a lot growing up. Sometimes my aunt puts chocolate chips into it, but I prefer just the plain, because I'm a vanilla girl. So anyway, we'd have this cake, you know, frequently as I was growing up, and the middle pieces of this cake, of course, are the most sort of cinnamony and buttery and delicious. And you know, my dad has been known, like, you'll come up and take the cover off the cake, and there's just the whole cake is there except for like the whole middle. That's my dad's doing. I mean, I don't think he'd deny it. He might, but we'll see. So literally, I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Just a bit of butter on here, making Pauline proud. Nice in the corners. That didn't seem to stay on the top. You know, just get all of it out there. Okay. Then we sprinkle our cinnamon and sugar. How much is obviously very much up to you. And again, I like to get it really like up into the corners. You could do a little, you can do a lot, of course. I do a lot. And just get this whole thing covered, okay? See where I'm going with this? And you can see how quick this is taking, because I started this at approximately, I mean, it was a little bit after 2. It was a little bit after 2 o'clock, and right now it's 2:22, and this is about to get right into the oven. It's going to take, you know, maybe 25, 30 minutes in the oven. I'll let you know when it comes out how long it took. It's a 350-degree oven. So, you know, we're getting done here in well less than an hour. So, you know, somebody calls and is like, hey, I'm stopping by for tea, or, you know, I don't know if people do that, but you know what I mean. It's something you can whip together pretty quick, or like you forgot, you know, something like you had to take to one of your kids' events or whatever. Okay, I think that should do it. All right, so I'm gonna put this in the oven and I will be back and show you how to eat it. Baking fail. So here's what happened. The cake came out, it was like super dense. Like it's supposed to be like fluffy and light. It was not, the opposite of that. So I started thinking about it and I realized that the mistake that I made was that I should have put the cinnamon sugar on first and then drizzled the butter. Drizzling the butter right onto the batter made the butter sink, I guess, or, you know, down. And yeah, science. It didn't work. So what I did is I said, okay, well, I'll make a half batter of it, and then I'll just put it in this 13 by 9 instead of making a whole big another one. So as I was making the second batter right here, I realized that I also only put in 1 cup of sugar instead of 2 cups of sugar. I mean, this is how I bake. I'm not going to lie. I have a lot of fails. So, ooh, this pan was too big for this amount of, we're going to go for another fail. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead this time and put on the sugar, cinnamon sugar, my pre-mixed cinnamon sugar here, onto the cake. And then put the butter on top of that. And then put it back in the oven. And then, you know, this isn't like Facebook Live or anything. So if it doesn't turn out, I could just not post it. And you guys would never know. You know what I'm saying? So let's just get a lot of cinnamon on there. And then, now half a stick of butter. I'm going to drizzle it. Yeah, see, this is correct. Now that I'm doing it, I'm realizing, yeah, this is how it's done. Sorry, Aunt Mary. And yeah, so I mean, you know, it's edible. It's like eating a stick of butter with cinnamon sugar on top, but it's edible. But let's hope that this one rises since it has the correct ingredients and I'm using the correct method, hopefully. So when I come back, I'm hoping that you'll get to see a delicious finished product. And even though I always say that I'm gonna put the recipe in the comments, I never do, but I will this time because I realize I confused everybody in case you want to try and make this. I'll be back in approximately 15 to 20 minutes. So I'm wondering if you can tell the difference. Is the camera picking that up? This is cake number 1. Obviously, it's very dense, really not even appetizing. Cake number 2, on the other hand, well, look, left some on the plate. Fluffy, moist, delicious. That was just from getting, I mean, I don't think that obviously the 1 cup of sugar made some sort of difference, but really the issue was the order of putting on the sugar and the butter. Put on the sugar and cinnamon first, then drizzle the butter. So as I said, if my old lady brain can remember this time, I will put the recipe in the comments. Big thanks to my Aunt Mary Agnes for making this for me my entire life. She did this, she knew it was my favorite and made it for my birthday every year. And it really does, it's like a family thing, you know, just really brings back all the feels. Okay, check you next time.